Okay, I'm beginning another movie, and I got myself a new light because my other LED light was getting very dull. So I'm getting better pictures for that reason, and because I got a new camera. You can kind of see it here. It's not too showing up too good, but it's a Sony Cybershot or something like that. Now, last night I made this video. I was real proud of it. And I used just these marbles right here, which have fallen apart. I held it so long in my hands. I've got to put some glue on it again to get it all back together. But it's through these marbles that you focus your camera on a shiny spot of light. You don't focus it on looking through the marble, but you focus it on the light that the LED light causes to make a gleam of light on the marble. And you get all this, and I want to show you right now what I got. Oh, there, start up. Go. Now, you're going to see more than just this. There's a lot of frenzied activity within these little orbs of light. And I do believe they're a form of energy, and that there's something that is all around us that we don't see except under special circumstances, and I found one of those special circumstances, how to videotape it. I take a lot of still pictures of these, but I really like these that are showing the motion, the movie, because now you will see some of what I see with my natural eye, like in this one right here that has all the little spots of light like that. I see that in an unbroken terrain because I can move the marble around so that my eyes keep viewing it without it just being in one circle. But I've used the camera to move around the light spectrum, and you can see there's a whole world of really strange looking dimension of beingness that it is capturing. And I'm no scientist, but I wish I could get some scientists interested in studying this. And it's not just a trick of the camera, or I'm not someone who knows all about how to make videos that are fake. This is just what I'm able to capture these days with my camera. And I've shared this knowledge with others on one of my other YouTube channel videos. I explain how it's done. So if you really care about wanting to know how it's done, you can go to that video, How to Take Pictures of Orbs. I think it's what I entitled it. But now I want to talk a little bit about what it might be that we're looking at here. There's all this color. Color means something, and the movements and the wrinkles in it, and the way the orb has the little outer edge. I'll point to it with this paintbrush I happen to have. This little edge around the whole perimeter of it. That is a characteristic of an orb. Oh, why did you stop? Sometimes this movie video playing just stops the motion. Well, this orb is what I call an opened up orb. I see the orbs, and I've shown them pictures of them in some of my other postings. I show the orb stretching out like a long ribbon, or folding itself out like a fan, or just discombobulating itself so that it has stringiness and it has really awesome looks about it. Now, this part I'm exploring. I'm looking around because when I change the angle of the marble or the camera, I get a different spectrum of the light. And each little spectrum of the light seems to hold a different kind of activity that can look completely different and not be quite as moving, or maybe have little things moving through it. And I don't know what else to say. It just is what it is. So I'm going to let you look at this a while. I have one more video that oh, there's the dark spot. Now with my other camera, this dark spot pops in and out, and it looks like a little creature. A creature of the light, and I've named him Harry. If you've seen any of my other videos, you'll have seen Harry. And I'm not trying to be silly here, but he does show up in so many of my orb pictures that I just had to give him a name. And I don't know if he's a creature of the light, or there is the possibility, of course, there always is, that we have debris in our camera. But now this is a brand new camera. I just bought this the other day. It hasn't had time to get any debris in it. Of course, some of the things that it shows are kind of hard to imagine as what it might be, what it might be showing us. Maybe this is a photon of light. Maybe it is a cell or an atom or energy. I don't really know because, like I say, I'm no scientist. I just know I have a visual proof of something that I know very little about. Now, I do have a friend who doused this because he helped me to explore this phenomena of taking all these orb pictures. And in his dousing, he determined from what we could gather from that we are looking at orgone. But orgone, not orgone alone, but tachyon, orgone, and something called child. No, wait a minute. Honey child. You know that song, Honey Child? Okay, that's the pronunciation of it, child. And you won't find it anywhere if you Google it. I already have tried. But this is the information he got through. There's so much that we don't know anything at all about. Maybe ancient people of long years ago might have known more than we know now about this sort of thing. But we have these instruments, these wonderful cameras and the internet and everything so freely available to us to explore this dimension. And I do see it as another dimension. And I went and stopped again. Start back up. Okay. It does that. Stops and starts. It's the program. It's got bugs in it. The program does, and you will see it looks like these orbs have some kind of little creatures in them as well. There's bugs in everything. How's that for sophisticated talking of a scientific way? There's bugs in everything. But you know, quantum physicists are coming up with some of the saying some of the same thing the mystics of old have always said. And what they're saying is everything is light. And they're saying everything is the same thing. There's just modifications upon this light that cause things to be differentiated. And I know very little of science, but I do know a lot about what Walter Russell taught in his books, which I'm going to put some of his playlist, my playlist of me reading his books, like The Secret of Light. I'm going to put that on in the description bar so you can go there and hear what all he had to say about light. Light is information, and light is consciousness, and light is all there is, and God is light. Our conception of God, we say God is all-knowing. Well, light is part of that all-knowingness. But that's only one quality. God is not just one quality. He has many qualities. God is power. God is love. And God is law. Because all of this operates under God's laws concerning light. And if you read what Walter Russell said, there's an interweaving of two lights that cause this tapestry of creation that we call our world and everything in it. It's all illusion. There's no reality at all about it. But we're in it, so we see it as real. Stopped again. And so it's hard to explain how something that is seen by us as so real is actually an illusion. And we're part of the illusion, so we see it this way. But we have to learn, as Walter Russell said, to live less and less in the world of illusion that we detect with our senses, and more into the world of knowing, which is not a physical world. Now, I don't know if what I'm showing you here is a physical thing. I ponder so many questions that in my mind all the time about this sort of thing, like, who should I send this information to, these videos to, that might be able to explore it still further more than me? And then I think, yes, I would like that, but I would like them also to have a knowledge of what some of the ancient mystics of old and present day quantum physicists are now saying about light. And it seems to me that there's so much to learn, and that we have to get over dogma, because even scientists have their dogmatic beliefs in certain things, and they just refuse to look at anything else that gives them something that's contradictory. It's almost a religious sort of thing. They don't want to believe another theory. I mean, like right now, there's people who say, oh, I don't believe in the string theory. But pretty basically, I think what the string theory is saying, and you may correct me if I'm wrong about this, but everything is made out of little tiny strings of light. So tiny we can't see them, but that they connect everything to everything else. And I can readily believe that because of the very visual pictures I have of these photons of light being all stringy. I'm not going to be showing you the stringy ones here in this video that is a movie, but I do have a lot of still shots of very stringy, twisting photons of light. It's like a photon of light is a little piece of intelligence, and it has the ability to be conscious. And I think it has the ability to react to our words and thoughts, and especially to our emotional feelings. Because sometimes the best pictures and the best viewing of light that I've done has been at a time when I felt a lot of emotion. Be it good emotion or be it not so good. I mean, it could be sad. I could recall a sad memory, and it's like this element, whatever it is, responds more so to our feelings than it does anything else. Oh, it stopped. I have another one. Oh no, it's not near done. It just stops now and then. I have another video as well as this one that shows pretty much the same thing. And I wanted to show you with it how the light source sends these orbs of light out already possessing within them these colorings. Some of them colorful, some of them sort of black and white. We'll get to that part. Until then, I'm just going to rattle on my theories that I put out there about all this. And that's really all they are. They're just theories. Seems like we saw this part. This video is messing up. I'm going to show you my other video. Let's see, this is number... Hold on. Let me show you my other video. Okay, get this one going. Go. Because this one shows the light source. I'm going to point to it with this little arrow thing. Or my finger. The light source is right over here. And always it seems to be very purple or violet colored. comes across as pink, I know when it's the video is done of it, but it's really very violet colored. And see these orbs of light coming out from the source of the light? They already have markings in them. And they have little things that look like little wormy creatures in them. And it is amazing. I say that quite often. It is amazing. This is visual proof that right in front of us, in our very rooms, all around us, there is a world of light in motion. Maybe in violet motion, I don't know. But everything moves. And everything makes circles. And when I'm using my natural eye to look into this world, instead of the camera's eye, I will look at one of the projections of light that, I'll show you. Here's a marble. And sometimes the marble's gleam will project itself a little off from the marble, right above it, hovering over it, but not actually on it. And when I'm looking, without using the camera, into that little projection of light, that shiny spot that jumps out ahead of the marble, I move it around and I see all of this landscape. And each time I look at a different marble, it's a different landscape, real similar, but different. Like you notice in this, like this one here is completely different from the really vibrant one over here. And it sure looks like tapestry weaving. And then you see this little area here where something is moving through it. It's really strange looking. And I think there is something to this, something very exciting, because for one thing, we're exploring through this in a visual way a dimension, a realm, a possibility that this light is something we can interact with, especially since our emotional bodies seem to influence it. I have made a lot of videos of showing just one orb, and not several, but in the background I have a preacher preaching about something like hell and brimstone and fire and judgment and all this, and the orbs aren't near as beautiful as when it's beautiful music that I'm looking at the orb and have in the background beautiful music playing. So I do think they have something to relate to us through their light and their color and their movement about the things we say and the music we make and all of that. I've often thought I would love to have some band or some orchestra want to have this in the background projected on a huge screen in real time to the music they make, and see what kind of color forms they can build up into this orb, what kind of movements, what kind of little creatures might move through it. I don't know. But I do know this is evolving. This looking at orbs, for me, is evolving. I'm seeing more and more all the time. And in a minute I will I will focus on this orb right here to the side. It doesn't have the same kind of coloration. It's really different. And maybe I'll get to it in a second. I'm just exploring with my camera, with my light on, shining over on the bed where I'm laying there holding my camera and a glass object to look through. And it's like I'm just exploring from the comfort of laying in bed a world as yet mostly unknown to us. Let me click that so it'll start up again. You see how all these little things here, little round things? In some of my still pictures of orbs, there's hundreds of these little round parts, some of them bigger than others, some of them real tiny. And it is just so interesting. It is a little bit weird that Not a whole lot of people are interested in this. Who know me, they think, well, she's weird. She's just looking into this crazy stuff. It's just something marbles do or something light does. Well, that it is. It is something light does. But it's not always marbles that I'm using as a medium to get the gleam of light off of. Sometimes it's a piece of glass like this. This is a glass thing. I think it might be a candle holder or something. Every time I go to the thrift stores, I'm looking for glass things, like the top of this. That gets me some good orb pictures. But you can also focus on the light that shines anywhere on this, not just the rounded part. But when you're looking through rounded parts, you always get round orbs. Some of the other things I use don't give me the round orb. They give me the orbs that are moving like a snake. I say that they're stretching, and they're like a snake that's biting its own tail, because the orb will go around and one end will open up and swallow the other end, and then you can see it inside of itself going. You can see it that way. You'll have to check out my other videos. I have some amazing pictures of orbs in still motion. Now, I will tell you this. Let me take a drink of water here. If you keep your controls still, like the marble that you're using to get the shine off of, and your camera, you will get a very still picture with not a lot of movement, but yet movement. But it's just slower, much, much slower. But the light moves. It's not as exciting, though, as when you hold the camera and you hold the marble. Not the marble, but the glass, whatever, implement. Because I think in motion is how we see other motion. We can't have complete stillness to see the most interesting aspects of it anyway. But I have done that. I have put a control on holding the camera in a stillness and the marble in stillness. But like I say, it's not as interesting. I have explored all of the possibilities, such as when I'm looking through it with just the naked eye, I'm looking at the marble. I can put my finger on the other side of the marble and see that what I'm seeing is the oils out of my own finger. You know, the little oil particles our bodies put onto things, because we're oily beings, I tell you. Now look at this one. That's an orb of a different sort than this one over here. See? Completely different, but right beside it are the really bright ones. What does that mean? I don't know. I do not know. It's interesting to look at. There are so many conditions I could set up where I look at things differently, look through different devices, be in different locations, have different things going on in the background, noises, people, vibrations of all sorts, emotions of all sorts. There's so much exploring to be done with this. But I do like the idea of a band playing or a musical event going on, and this being broadcast on a big, huge screen so the whole audience could see the lights and the colors that seem to attune themselves to the sound in the room. I see a lot of the little round circles that you don't see them here, but in my still pictures of this you will see them easily. But I see a lot of them come and go. I mean, it will appear and then disappear. It's almost like it's a little breathing tube. It just comes up, because this all looks very liquid-like and very layered. And sometimes, you know, New Age people talk about the liquid golden light. And this certainly, well, it's not all golden. There's some golden colors in it, but it certainly looks liquid and fluid. And this kind of energy we're made of too. And we need to understand this. Our world is not what we think it is. And I do know we need to bring a lot more discipline to our emotional bodies, because our emotions are all over the map. And we're creating in our world some scenarios that are not very lovely to think about or see happening, where people are in strife with one another. We've got to learn to control our emotional body, because we're creating with our thoughts. That's been my belief now for quite a while, that we're creating our world according to how we collectively think together. And there are people who know this, I believe, and they deliberately try to introduce fear in order to manipulate people, in order to profit from people, to see people only as consumers and not as creators like we really are. We have so much power within us. When we start tapping into it, we're going to do wonderful things. I do believe. It stopped again. And we will know more about what we're looking at here. Maybe there'll be a form of communication that we will be able to discover. I hope to have physicists, quantum physicists, particle physicists. I've been watching a lot of their videos on YouTube. There are so many. And they share their knowledge. And I hope they will grab hold of this. They won't need a big research grant for it, though, because it's done very cheaply and very easily with just glass and a good little digital camera. And a LED light. I like to use a LED light because they make such an intense light that doesn't really seem to fill the whole room, because you do need the darkness to get the color in these orbs to show up. I don't make my videos except at night, because in the daytime too much light comes in from the window. Even with the curtains closed, it still infiltrates in there, and then the orbs are all very whitish, very staticky looking. And they're still interesting though, because then you can see other kinds of things in them that you don't when you see all this color. But someone who wanted to comment on this, what I'm looking at here, who knows more about what I may be looking at, I would love your comment. I would love your thoughts on what this might be. Okay, this video is about to end. And I think we've shown enough of it to show you how it comes right out of the light source as these big teardrop looking shaped orbs at first. But now I'm going to turn this off, and I will just go to film strips. Oh, what do they mean by that? I have these available. Oh, I gotta end this. My phone's ringing.